Hello there and welcome back. In this video we are going to be looking at a map, which maps show up all the time on tests, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to look at a map. And this particular one is of Dealey Plaza. This is the area in which President Kennedy was assassinated. I do want to tell you the source of this image is from a man called David Simkin, who wrote a book about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So I do want to give credit to this source. This is not my drawing. Okay. But let's take a look at the general map of Dealey Plaza. This is in Dallas, Texas. And you remember that a plaza is a public marketplace or public square. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can look at all the buildings. The county jail and the records building, this is called the Daltex building, and the Texas School Book Depository. You have Elm Street right in there. Sorry, I'm going to erase my highlighters, but I just want you to see. And here's Houston Street. So we're looking at this intersection of Elm and Houston. The arrows are very important because they are leading us through the steps of this diagram. And if you have your highlighter handy, I would go ahead and highlight this route that the motorcade on that day was following. So they're showing me the route that the car was taking. I do want to zoom in right here. These are not arrows. Those are supposed to be lamp posts, I believe, street lights. So don't confuse those with arrows. There are some other names that I want to point out to you. This is sort of a park-like area. You hear a lot of discussion about the grassy knoll. Grassy knoll. So you may be thinking, what in the world is a knoll? A grassy knoll. So let's Google that. I want to give you some practice with Googling that to get the definition. So we just want to know what a knoll is. And here it tells us, a knoll is a small hill or mound. If you read a lot of literature about the assassination of Kennedy, you will hear about the grassy knoll. There were some people who believed that Oswald did not act alone, and they talk about different places where the shooter could have been. So the grassy knoll is one of those. Another one that you hear mentioned a lot is the car park. And you see they have even numbered that. Mr. Simkin used the number 8 there. The pergola, that's another one that is an unfamiliar word. So let's Google that to see what the definition of pergola is. You can do this without me. This is a very good skill to have. Siri tells us that a pergola is an outdoor garden feature forming a shaded walkway, passageway, or sitting area. So this is a pergola in our diagram. So what is happening in this picture? The motorcade is coming down Main Street over here. We're picking them up as they're coming down Main Street. So essentially, let me just back off here. Here comes the motorcade. And this is around 12:30 in the afternoon. So the motorcade comes down by the county jail. It turns on to Houston Street. And the president is waving to the crowd in the convertible. And this is the route that it's following. So Houston runs into Elm. They make the turn and they're moving on down the line. And let's go ahead and put our time in there. This is at 12:30 p.m. on November 22nd, 1963. So the car rounds the corner. At A this is the same car. This is the president's car. So at position A, and I'll tell you what, let me use a different color for this one. So at position A, here's the president's car. And then a couple of seconds, maybe 1 second later, here he is at B, presidential convertible. Second later, here he is at C. And then another second later, here he is at D. So we're talking about maybe 4 to 5 seconds as that car is rolling down the street. It's rolling slowly because remember, there are crowds of people waving to the president. They're all watching this event unfold. Nobody has any idea that Lee Harvey Oswald is somewhere hiding with a rifle. Okay, so here are the events. I'm going to give you the events, and I want you to see if you can figure out where Lee Harvey Oswald was hiding. Where is the shooter in this picture? I'm going to start with B, this blue car. Okay. At this point, Kennedy reacts to a gunshot. So when the car is at B, John F. Kennedy, I'm using his initials there, reacts to a gunshot. So at this point in the motorcade, the president knows something's wrong. He's hit by a bullet at this point. At point C, and remember this is all happening just within a couple of seconds, Governor Connolly, who was the governor of Texas, also was shot. He reacted to a shot. He was hit and he reacted to that shot. So that's at the orange. At point D, the president, John F. Kennedy, was shot in the head. So there was a second shot, and people argue about this all the time, whether there was one shot or two, where the shots were coming from. But this is where the president actually slumps over. This is where he died, essentially. Okay, so looking at this picture, convertible comes down Main Street, makes the turn onto Houston, and then onto Elm. At the blue point, point B, president realizes he has been shot. At point C, the governor realizes he too had been shot. And then at point D, the second shot hits the president in the head. Okay, witnesses reported that they saw a puff of smoke over here. The witnesses said in the car park, we saw a puff of smoke. So my question to you, where do you think the shooter is in this picture? If you like CSI, where would you look for the gunman? And keep in mind that the president's car is moving this way. Okay, he's moving this direction. Where do you think Lee Harvey Oswald was? Okay, I'm going to show you. You may have already noticed. Do you see this letter A right there? That's where the gunman was hiding. He was in this window on the 6th floor. So I've got the wrong window. It's the one above it. He was right up here. In the Texas School Book Depository, He was in this warehouse. So I want you to think about why Oswald didn't shoot right there. What was it that prevented the shot at this point A? Think like a detective. Look at this. That doesn't show up. What would have been wrong right there? That tree is in the way. You see how the tree is blocking the view here at point A. So Oswald didn't have a clear view of the president's head at this point. So he waited until the motorcade moved a second further. So we're looking at this angle. And remember, this is where the first shot hits the president. So he realizes something is desperately wrong here. At this point, the governor reacted to the gunshot that hit him. He did not die, by the way. And then finally, Oswald has a clear shot to the president right there. And that is the fatal shot. He was able to get a clear aim at the president, and he was able to hit him. So you may be thinking, well, what was the puff of smoke? What happened over here? And nobody knows. That's the source of a lot of conspiracy theories. Some people say that there was another gunman in this car park that fired, and that could possibly have been the bullet that killed the president. There's been a lot of discussion about that over the years. So if you're interested, you can definitely Google that and learn about the different theories about Kennedy's death. I do want to link the videos. I'll link them in the course. If you want to watch them, you just click on them and it'll take you to the YouTube. Again, if you don't want to see those, that is fine. I totally understand that. But if you like crime drama and CSI stuff, you might find those interesting. Okay, I'll see you soon for another video. I hope you have a great day.